Let's do this. What are you up to? What's up? Well, my name is Tex. I run Lazarus Vintage, and recently we opened up a store, short notice, here in downtown Brownsville, Texas. So that is me, 29 years old as of the moment I am speaking, and it's been a cool little ride. So we're here, doing what we fucking do. I find and I sell vintage t-shirts and clothing. I guess I try to provide an affordable experience. I source here. Like, a lot of people don't know that we, aside from Canada, aside from Texas, South Texas, and maybe other transborder states in the U.S., we supply a lot of the world in the U.S. At least here domestically, we are some of the biggest suppliers. So I see many of thousands of pounds going to different states, different places. And the thing is, a lot of what we have here, these rag houses, ropa usadas, sometimes exist in other places of the U.S., but they are tightly controlled, they're privatized in a very strict manner, and even locals couldn't get into it. We're one of the last frontiers that have openly accessible rag houses for the locals, and that's why, other than the fact that maybe we are, in an area where, like, the market, we wouldn't be able to pay market on every piece, so I definitely adjust to it. And also, it's something that is accessible. If, you had the free time, maybe you could, and I'm not going to try to overcharge or charge close to market when I can make it accessible for the people. Keep it here in the Valley. This is great fashion. This is something that has been around, our grandmas, our aunts, our mothers have done it, our sisters have done it, like our, brothers and fathers have worked the forklifts. It's been around us in some way. Everyone's had some memory of being at the ropa usada when they were younger. I try to keep my best and cheapest prices at the farmer's market because that's where I got my start. You can always come to the shop. You can always, I sell vintage clothing. It's all in the Valley. It's all in the Valley. Anything I buy otherwise is for personal, and maybe it'll trickle down its way, but that's very rare. Everything I source from Brownsville almost exclusively. Yeah, like, never mind the Valley. Yes, it's in the Valley. Yes, it's in Texas, but a lot of it is from Brownsville. I stay here. I love it, and I mean, even if I had the means to, I'd experience other places, but I couldn't call it a place home. 5 years ago, I started really like selling. Or not really selling. I just started selling. But before that, I was digging. After that, I just got more serious about it. I think it was 2 years into that I decided to do full time. My mom would definitely bring me around thrifting, and I didn't appreciate it then. I wasn't looking for anything, for sure. But I was around it, and I maybe had one or two memories of going to the rag house. But what really got me into it was, my thing is metal, and growing up in a Christian home, or like going to church every Sunday. Like, my dad, did start going to church from my mom. My mom came from a Christian household. Her father, my grandfather, is a pastor. All of them either sing in the choir or played an instrument in the band. My escape was going to the mall every weekend, and I got like maybe $20, maybe 30 if I was, lucky. And it was for the arcade, and it was for buying food. I could get by pretty good at the arcade because I was good at Tekken. So, hey, maybe win a few, maybe bet. Now I've got my $20 back. Now I can go to Hot Topic and buy a shirt, and I might walk away with a Slayer shirt that got confiscated in a couple of days on my stepdad's off day. So a lot of shirts I lost like that, and that was really my only form of expression, or my favorite form, because I went to private school up until like middle school. Uniform, and I fucking hated that. That's what led me to selling vintage. What really happened was I found a leather jacket, and it was maybe burned, but it was good leather, and it wasn't my size. It was like an XL. So I was going to the flea market a lot, and I remember this vendor, Barefoot Vintage, shout out to Michael and Betty. They had all the cool shirts, all the patches. She used to make, cut out shirts, graphics of shirts that were damaged and show them on the jackets. He slang vinyl and t-shirts. I went up to them, I said, hey, I have this jacket, can I trade you for some stuff? We made a trade that established a relationship. Later on, after I had lost my job or whatever, I went over to them. I said, "Hey, can I help you? Like, can I be of any assistance?" And I think after doing that a couple times and exchanging numbers, and he was like, "Hey, well, you know what? Message me, and I'll tell you, where to show up." And I messaged him a couple times, a couple of days, and he finally gave me an address, and I showed up, and that was it. I was at the rack house, and the rest was history. In some way, I've always felt like I wanted to work for myself. I can remember my earliest desire was, like, as far as like workplace, occupation, was becoming a lawyer. Other than that, I've always wanted to work for myself, and I think it's still the same reason. I have an idea, like, I want a store. I want to be able to use that to do more, so that I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. If I did, I would always want to go experience it and come back and bring whatever that I've gained from there and apply it back into a positive way for my city. It's still the same reason. Like, there's so much that I can do with this place. Outside of clothes, outside of, making accessible what we already have to the public, because a lot of people don't have the time to go pick what we pick. Like, I want to make it accessible to the locals. Because everyone has their own personal reasons for wanting to open up a vintage stores, and there's no shortage of vintage stores in the U.S. In Texas, alone, but in South Texas, like McAllen's got their share, but Brownsville doesn't have their vintage store. Not that I want to be the only one, because shit, like, rising tide lifts all boats. It's really getting great teas to good homes is like one of the other things I say a lot. I love the digging, I love the finding, I love the recognizing. Like, maybe I don't fully appreciate it, but I know that someone will. First of all, it's worth some money, but someone's gonna appreciate it, and I can provide it at a lower price than maybe what it's going for online. And I don't do this. That's the other thing. I don't do this online, even though maybe I could, like, get more money. First of all, I hate it. I don't want to fucking do that shit. I want to set up and just list, bring up everything, hang on my racks, be like, that's 15, all that's 20. You buy a bunch, I'll hook it up, I'll knock off like 5 each tee, and then I want to see that, like, oh, fuck. Like, I love One Direction, oh my god. And we're getting to that point where all those things are becoming vintage. Bieber, One Direction, all these like that's the NSYNC and Justin Timberlake and Nick Lachey and Backstreet Boys of our generation maybe, and it's cool to see people get excited over it. Because I'm into metal, but I can understand that excitement of finding I find a System T and I'm like, oh shit, you find a Taylor Swift tee, from the Speak Now with the Speak Now graphic, and you're like, I love it. I'm like, I like it too. It looks like Matrix. It look like, that's cool. At the moment, it's irregular. So for sure on weekends, unless we have an all weekend out of town event, and if not, then our other most likely days of operation will be Thursday and Friday. Other than that, we're outsourcing, so don't bother us unless you want to set up an appointment and just DM. It's me at the moment, so I can handle it. So if I can probably get back to you in a couple hours, or at least maybe an hour, maybe in 20 minutes. But the main thing is that we're here in South Texas, in Brownsville. A lot of it was just serendipitous. A lot of everything that kind of led to me being where I am at is serendipitous, aside from was nothing but doing at the rack house. That's all I did. Just being there every day, digging, whether it was there, another place, bouncing around, consistently trying to book pop-ups. I didn't know I was going to get the store because I was looking for a place, for an apartment or for a place to live. Like, a lot of it was just short notice, and we're just trying to make it work. Yeah. It's all short notice. I want the store to focus on rotating like mini collections, whether it be based on decade, theme, manufacturer, material, various little things. I want it to be constantly changing. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, I guess. I'm also here physically in person at 947 East 15th Street, Brownsville, Texas. So I would like to plug Lazarus Vintage. That's my main personal vintage. If you want to see just raw finds, If you want to see, you know, the bulk of everything that I do as a vintage picker. If you're in Texas, you're in South Texas, you want to come visit the shop, it's shortnotice.tx on Instagram. We got some stuff cooking up. Like, I'm excited to tease everything. There's not enough of me to like post as much as I want and to just show everybody, you know, what I do. But I've been saving a lot of things. I've been putting a lot of things in the vault, and now I finally have the place to, you know, to showcase it all. First thing was Harley, and the next thing was not too far off. Well, thank you so much.